I recently made a comment on a YouTube video and got a request to do a video about it, so here goes. The video in question was theories for how Game of Thrones was going to end, and let's just say I didn't entirely agree with theories. Nothing wrong with that, people are entitled to their own opinion, of course, but I threw something completely random out there. I don't think this is going to happen, so please don't start writing at me because it doesn't take into account all the evidence we've been given. I'm well aware of this. It was just something hastily slapped together based upon some stuff which has recently happened on the show, nothing whatsoever to do with the books. When Daenerys left Slaver's Bay, now called the Bay of Dragons, she left orders with Daario to...
You're staying here with the Second Sons. There's finally peace in Meereen. You will keep the peace while the people choose their own leaders.
So, based on this, it looks like Daenerys is in favour of democracy. So, based on that, I have a strong suspicion next series she's going to go after the Seven Kingdoms. She'll most likely face off in a glorious battle against Cersei's forces in King's Landing and utterly destroy them, then move in. After that, she'll take the Iron Throne, which she's wanted right from day one. But considering she was so keen on Meereen having a vote for their leaders, I suspect she'll institute some kind of council, parliament, senate, whatever, which will be elected by the people and probably have power to overrule the Queen. Anyway, to overrule the rulers' judgments. I then think she will have made an alliance with Jon and promised to help him defend the wall when he needed it. She'll receive the call. She'll order her armies north, but it's quite possible that her parliament will overrule her and say, no, we don't want to send all our armies north, keep them here to protect the capital. Perhaps Queen Cersei is still at large and they're afraid she'll come back and try to retake the city if they leave, or I don't know, but it's quite possible the Parliament would not want her sending the army north. So in that case, Jon, expecting reinforcements, would stay, fight, hold the wall, and most likely him and all his supporters would die doing it. I mean, it's possible if, as a lot of theories have suggested, Jon ends up with a dragon. Perhaps the dragon gets injured early in the battle and Jon has to flee on it. Because of course the dragon is way more valuable than just one fight. But anyway. So yeah, probably Jon, all his advisors, so that's Davos, Tormund, quite possibly Sansa because she'd stay by his side, along with Brienne and Podrick, who would probably have returned to them by then, would all be added to the Army of the Dead. So you'd then see the Army of the Dead marching south. They'd hit all sorts of other settlements, killing people, adding them to the Army of the Dead, and they wouldn't hit any force that could stop them until they got to King's Landing, at which point Daenerys would have presumably got the intelligence that they'd add anyone they killed to the Army of the Dead, so she'd send out the 3 dragons. Assuming she still had 3, of course. So, George R.R. Martin apparently said the ending would be a bittersweet ending. So what I'm suggesting could happen is it could end, last episode would feature a scene of the dragons staying out of range of the Army of the Dead whilst taking them down. So you'd end up seeing Jon Snow, Targaryen, Stark, whatever he decides to go as, getting burnt to end his own death, as well as Sansa, Brienne, Podrick, Davos, Tormund, Dolorous Edd, any undead members of the Night's Watch, hundreds of thousands of undead wildlings, Possibly Sam and Gilly if they got to Old Town first. Possibly Jaime Lannister if he was not at King's Landing when he got taken. Pretty much everyone who is not in King's Landing would end up getting burnt by the dragons. Now, I don't seriously think that'd happen, but that's a possibility. And it wouldn't go that far beyond the realms of imagination. I mean, yes, Jon managed to run from an attack once at Hardhome. He managed to escape the army of the dead, but how many survivors were there? The Wildling army was supposed to number somewhere between 50 and 100,000 at that point, and they got maybe 5,000 people onto the boats, so that's a 95% loss rate. I most certainly am not suggesting that's going to happen, but it's plausible based on what we've seen. I know that completely disregards an awful lot of other theories, materials, foreshadowing which has gone on in the books and the TV show. So I'm not suggesting it's what will actually happen, but it's something that could, and at least one person thought it sounded like a great idea. In a really cruel, evil, nasty, horrible kind of way. So please don't hate me, feel free to rip this apart in the comments. I'd prefer you avoided personal attacks though. And future videos will be back to the how-tos type stuff I usually do, unless I receive massive demand for more of these. I would be very surprised if that happens, but you never know.